Hi, Blockbuster Brief here. Today, I'll discuss Soldier Boy, a film based on the true story of World War II's youngest soldier. There will be spoilers ahead. Keep an eye out and be cautious. The film begins in Russia, where a family of 3 is relaxing by a river. Sergei Aleshkov, the youngest, is bragging to his elder brother and mother about being on top of a tree when German fighter jets fly overhead. The mother orders her children to hurriedly hide in the bushes, but the 6-year-old insists on striking the jet with a slingshot. To everyone's surprise, he hits the jets and blows them apart. But when he looks around, he notices that his family is gone. Sergei awakens terrified from his dream and screams out to his mother. Someone suddenly knocks on his door. He hurries towards it, thinking it's his mother, but a neighbor woman comes in panicked. She thanks God for his survival and informs him that his mother and brother are no longer living. The small kid is unable to understand what she is saying and wishes to remain in the house to await his mother. The woman informs him that Germans have attacked them and that he should flee. Suddenly, some soldiers approach their home. The woman forces Sergei to flee through the window, but she is killed before she can join him. The 6-year-old boy is now on his own, without relatives or friends. As Sergei flees the house, he notices his entire neighborhood burning behind him. He runs away from there, calling for his mother in vain. He ends up in the midst of the woods after running for a time. Because he is lost, the small boy begins to call for his mother to come and retrieve him. He spends the night in the jungle. The next morning, we observe him drinking water from a river as enemy forces approach. Sergei quickly hides inside the roots of a tree, knowing they are deadly. When a snake approaches, he is startled but does not utter a word or flee. Sergei is terrified by the troops rather than the snake. The troops eat beside the river and then leave, leaving Sergei to eat their leftovers for the night. The little child, on the other hand, is fatigued by the end of the day. He hasn't eaten anything in 2 days and has been roaming aimlessly. He stumbles as he limps but does not stop walking. While on his way, he comes upon some wild berries and devours them. Nevertheless, an explosion strikes behind him, catching him off guard. The child becomes dizzy and begins to see someone approaching from behind him. Despite this, he stands tall and tells the person that he has a gun and is not afraid. He limps forward but soon falls unconscious. 2 soldiers approach him while he is asleep. The scene shifts to a Russian army barracks, where Commander Kuznetsov awaits the arrival of his patrol soldiers. They arrive with the little damaged and weak child. When the troops profess to be on his side, the youngster opens up and introduces himself. When the youngster shakes hands with the commander and suggests he identify himself, the troops chuckle. The warriors are loving toward the child and circle him. They force him to drink water and eat. Even the frigid commander takes care of the child. Sergei's wounds are dressed by a nurse named Katya, who is also taken with his personality. The child requests that she draw a tank on his wounds since he aspires to be a soldier when he grows up. Even the wounded warriors converse to the child and feel better. Sergei is enthralled by the commander's weapon and his batch. After getting the bullets out, the commander also answers all of the small boy's questions and lets him play with his honorary weapon. Sergei displays the tank he drew on his tummy and brags about being a soldier himself. The youngster is recovering quickly. The nurse Katya requests that the youngster stay with the battalion, but the commander refuses, stating that it will be unsafe. He prefers to send Sergei to an orphanage. Sergei occupied all of the soldiers' free time. Throughout the day, he is visited by a large number of people. They feed him food sent from faraway families and even let him play with their binoculars. One day, a soldier approaches the commander and requests that the youngster remain with the battalion. The troops have formed an attachment to the child and regard him as their own. His presence lifts the burden of battle from their shoulders. The commandant, on the other hand, is determined about transferring the youngster to the orphanage for his own safety. The next day, the enemies attack, injuring many soldiers. A car arrives to pick up Sergei and transport him to the orphanage. The commander informs the child and presents him with a wooden honorary pistol as a gift. In turn, the youngster hugs him, indicating that he is concerned about the commander's safety. The commander melts in his hug and reconsiders his decision. He requests that Sergei remain with the military as his son. That night, the soldiers hunt for little soldier uniforms for Sergei, who is overjoyed to be staying with them. Sergei is awakened by the commander and given the clothes. He puts them on and sprints about like a genuine soldier. The others begin to refer to him as their little soldier boy. The Germans commence an air attack on the regiment as the child rushes around. The soldiers rush Sergei to a secure location and attack the others. The number of injured soldiers is gradually increasing. Sergei wants to help, so he provides water to parched soldiers. Because he has a bandage over his eyes, one of them requests that he read a letter from his family. The youngster wishes to assist but is unable to read. He grabs the letter and begins making up the contents, claiming that the soldier's cow is safe at home. When the soldier confesses he doesn't have a cow, the others encourage him to believe the narrative and laugh. He reads everyone else's letters and cheers them up in the same way. Katya and the commander are seen conversing in the following scenario. The two appear to be attracted to each other but refuse to express their sentiments. Later, Sergei informs the commander that he is an orderly in the unit and begins addressing himself as such. However, the youngster witnesses one of the soldiers' stations being destroyed as a result of the attack. The commander asks him to remove his hat in order to pay respect to the fallen soldier. The next day, he insists on a mission from the commander and is assigned the responsibility of distributing the letters among the men. He gets the job done quickly and even makes the soldiers dance for him. The next day, Sergei ventures away from the base with his binoculars. When he notices someone's leg moving from inside a haystack while he is playing with it, he hurries back to the regiment and informs the soldiers of his discovery. The troops are doubtful, but they accompany the boy nevertheless. When they get close to the haystack, they are informed that 2 German agents are hiding beneath it. The spies are apprehended, and the child is commended for his wits. The captain shows Sergei the official documents for his adoption that night. He is now the child's legal father. Sergei is aware of the commander's affections for Katya, so he takes him to confess to her. However, when they observe her talking to another man, they incorrectly presume she is interested in someone else. The Germans strike the base once more. This time, Sergei lends his strength to the soldiers by delivering ammo to the soldiers on the front lines, but the soldiers there order him to return to the shed since it is too hazardous outside. When he arrives in the shed, he sees the commander and others in a state of panic because the phone connection with the colonel has been lost. A soldier is dispatched to repair the broken cables. Sergei pursues the soldier and discovers that he has been mortally wounded. He approaches the dying soldier and asks how he can patch the cables himself. The link is restored, and more troops are dispatched. Everyone's lives are saved by the 6-year-old. We later witness the commander and Katya conversing by the river. Finally, the commander confesses his feelings for her and begs her to be Sergei's mother. Katya is overjoyed, but before she can say anything, a soldier approaches them and hands the commander a letter stating that they have been ordered to leave the base. The next day, all of the soldiers, including Sergei, leave for their new base. However, they come upon a minefield on their way, which blows off some of their cars. The commander is injured, and Sergei's close friend, the group's orderly, is killed in the explosion. He sobs and embraces the commander. They continue their journey to their new base while carrying the injured. When they arrive at the opposite base, they run across the commander's leader, the general. He, too, is pleased by the kid's drive and compliments the captain on having such a bright child. The next day, their division receives a guard's banner, as does the boy. When the general hands him his badge, he swears to save his country. Their base is savagely attacked one night, and the commander is trapped beneath the debris. Sergei begs for his father's forgiveness and strives to save him. He summons the other soldiers, who eventually bring forth the leader. The following day, Sergei visits an injured commander, his hands having been harmed while attempting to save the commander. The child is now an indispensable member of the team. He has no relatives beside them and follows them wherever they travel during the conflict. The film concludes with the unit transferring to a new base. A voice in the background says he even fought in the Stalingrad War and made it to Poland with the soldiers. He is now renowned as the world's youngest soldier, and the epic narrative of his bravery has been shared with the entire world. Subscribe to see more videos like this, enable notifications, and leave a like to support the channel. Thank you for taking the time to watch.